You're right. Mr. Taylor is the father of one of the two fetuses you're carrying.
I'm sorry? One?
There's no easy way to put this, Miss Mott. But in very rare cases, it's possible for a mother to become pregnant with fraternal twins.
I mean, I think it goes without saying that if you looked at season 7 as a whole, there was a lot to dislike about it. You know, I've already done the retrospective video. Um, it's been getting some interesting comments, but it's crazy how well I remember season 7 from start to finish. I mean, yeah, we just got through the back half of the season, but you go all the way back to like what was it, the first week of the year, January, whenever the show kicked off the new year 2024, the first episode of season 7. We have Andy and Jordan at the well, actually technically we start off with Danny waking up from her nightmare, but in any case, the fact that we anticipated the season so much is what made it sting that much harder when it comes down to analyzing what we just finished up a couple of weeks ago, I believe on August 7th. And there were so many missteps, even though you could tell the writers had a lot of lofty ambitions of where they wanted to take the show. But the moment I feel solidified in a lot of fans' minds that, you know what, this show is ruined, this season isn't for me anymore, what the heck were they thinking? It was definitely the mid-season finale. After Karen just finished raising hell at Sabrina's mocktail party, you know, fans were just done with this wobbling little heifer, considering she called Fatima out of her name so many times. Pam co-signing the nonsense, and then they left. I mean, when you think about it, Fatima was, pretty innocent, considering that this all started because Karen tried to take command of Sabrina's party about who could and couldn't be invited, mainly Fatima. Sabrina was fine with it, but then all of a sudden, Karen, if I remember correctly, Karen called Danny, right? Karen called Danny. I guess you could say to kind of get ahead of the um, invitation list, because I think that Sabrina had no issue with inviting Fatima. I mean, one could argue that she was probably going to invite Fatima prior to Karen saying anything, but I think it was India, or it was somebody from her job, or was it Paige? I don't know who it was, but someone came into Sabrina's office at work and she had to rush off the phone. That's when Karen decided to call Danny about the mocktail, and then no Fatima. And then Danny's like, man, heck, I want to invite who I want to. And then, that kind of caused some friction there. But at the same time, it's like, well, Fatima got invited by Danny as opposed to Sabrina. But at the same time, let's not forget, Karen got Pam to tag along with her. And the only reason she invited Pam was due to the fact that she wanted somebody to kind of back her up. And remember, even Pam called it. I was like, wait a minute, you never invite me anywhere. What's going on? No, I just wanted, maybe I just decided it's time for me to treat you a bit better, be nicer. Which again, we all know is Karen's way of saying, I'm about to use your ass for my own goals. Hence why everybody was having a good time until Karen and Pam showed up, and they were like looking like a couple of vultures, just glaring at everybody else having a good time. And then, when things really popped off, I believe the only reason Karen directed her rage at Fatima directly was when Karen was going off at Danny about how, you know what, and you're filling Zach's head with all these, ideas about DNA and yada yada. Wait. No. At the time, she didn't know Danny was the one behind the DNA thing. That wasn't until the results came out. Yeah, that's right. Because she thought Fatima was the one. It's like, yeah, you talking to my ex and causing him, you getting in the way of my ex taking care of his kids. And then Fatima said something under her breath like, yeah, we don't even know if they his kids yet. And then that's when Karen decided to go at her. And, Fatima made it known if it wasn't for that baby bump, your ass would be mine right now. And then Pam decided to jump in. And then Fatima's like, I don't even know you. You better stay out of this. And then, it went back and forth. And the B word was flung around. And a lot of people, even before that cliffhanger ending with the doctor calling Karen, fans are just like, what are these writers doing? It's like they're just allowing Fatima to get called out of her name and disrespected so many times. Yet then we get to the end where she waddles home, and then calls Pam to thank her about having her back. And it's like, no, it was ridiculous because what did she do? She waddled. And I ain't making fun of Karen, but she did waddle, obviously baby bump, but she waddled her way into her apartment, and just sat down. I'm like, that's what she does. She goes out because everybody else is having a good time, raises hell about it, and then comes home to relax after a job well done. This takes me back to season 5 when Miss Lisa showed up for that letter reading bullshit. When Miss Lisa put her on lockdown because her doctor said, hey, you need to stop stressing out. You need to stop working so hard. You need to take a few days off to just relax and unwind for the sake of the health of your babies and yourself. And Karen was only under lockdown by her mom for not even barely 24 hours. And she was feeling like she was locked in prison for life. And I kept saying the only reason Karen feels that way is because she can't do her surprise pop-ups over at Zach and Fatima's house and, go around cussing people out. That's the only reason Karen is feeling some type of way about not being able to go out and, not just go to work, but, go over to Zach and Fatima's and, cause some mess. It disrupts her spirit when she isn't able to go out and ruin other people's day. So I just think about the fact that when you look at what happened when the doctor called her, essentially saying, oh, we got the results from the DNA. And you are correct. Zachary Taylor is the father of is the father. Well, I knew that already, but this is what did she say? A courtesy, basically, to show, yeah, Zach wanted me to take the test, so I guess I'm going to do it. And then, yeah, he's the father of one of the twins. Wait, what? And people lost their minds because the DNA test was a big deal early in the season. But then, you could argue that Karen having twins was the moment the season died, but I'm more inclined to look at the mid-season finale. It's one thing for the announcement to be, oh, Karen's having twins, but another for it to be confirmation, oh, Zach is the father of one of the twins. People lost their mind. And remember, this was the moment that put the season on a hiatus for 2 months. People just had to sit with that. And it's like, we just sat through 11 episodes of BS from Zach's, blatant disregard of Fatima, running after Karen, getting these flowers and rubbing on her belly and all this other stuff. And here we are. Now we're stuck. Now he's stuck with Karen. There's no way to get around her. Child support, taking care of one of these kids before all that twin nonsense. Oh, he's responsible for both. Oh, that bullshit. Nobody cares about that. But yeah, the revelation that Zach was indeed the father, still to this day, even though we are done with season 7, there are those who are still skeptical. They don't believe it. They think it's a hoax. But I mean, literally, there were people even before season 7, and I'm talking season 5, season 6, people who denied Karen was even really pregnant. They were like, no, she's not pregnant, she's just faking it. And I'm like, come on, I know you don't like her and whatnot, but she's pregnant whether you like it or not. So when it comes down to it, I think the fact that the fans not only getting the revelation that Zach is indeed the father of one of the twins canceled any hope of Zach and Fatima being happy with no more Karen in their life. And I mean, this is before the back half of season 7, because at this point people are like, dang, she's still pregnant and she's still with the drama and all this other crap, which makes the back half of the season even more jarring because the mid-season finale cliffhanger, it just killed any sort of momentum because a lot of fans were like, okay, even though season 7A was a bit, it was a lot to take in. It was kind of a bit messy. You have all these huge storylines like Gary and the FBI, Sabrina trying to get pregnant, Danny and the fact that her boyfriend has kids, and all this other stuff. And well, like Fatima in law school, and Michael being there full time, considering that Zach has finally gotten sole custody of his son, and the list goes on. So you would think that season 7B would kind of deliver, but it really didn't when you think about it. I mean, to me, I think the first half of the season was a lot stronger than the second half, because if you go back to my scores, I gave a bunch of episodes 10 out of 10s and whatnot, because I'm like, okay, yeah, they're doing setup. This is only the first half of the season, but when we get to the second half, I feel like that's when things got really messy, because you had a bunch of things that occurred off screen. It was more about telling than showing us, like the kumbaya that happened between, I guess, Fatima and Karen off screen, to the point where Fatima, despite feeling awkward, attended the baby shower and whatnot. And when it comes down to the cliffhanger ending, people are like, okay, Fatima knows, Zach knows he's the father of one kid. How is that going to change things? And if nothing else, Zach felt more like, okay, I want to take care of what's mine. And then you have Fatima, of all people, being the first one to say, it's a package deal. No, it's not. And then Karen, and then Aaron, and then Miss Lisa. It's all about taking care of both of those kids and yada, yada, yada. So I feel like the mid-season, finding out about the twins was a gut punch. But then again, ever since the hiatus between season 3 and as we got into season 4, well, actually, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, actually, no, I'm right. It was the end of season 3 when Karen announced her pregnancy. So yeah, after season 3, the cliffhanger, I'm pregnant, then we move into season 4. Fans, including myself, we were all like, I don't know, maybe she's pregnant with twins, or she got pregnant by both fathers within the same fertile cycle, whatever the correct terminology is there. And it turns out we were right. Remember, this is before season 4 even aired, yet we all had the idea that she might be pregnant with twins by both fathers, or both men. And now you have the situation where that's become a reality, but it just seems like if they really wanted to do something, it should have been Karen being pregnant with one kid, yet we don't do a DNA thing until the baby is born. But I don't know. I just feel like if you look at the ratings alone, you compare the first half of the season to the back half, that cliffhanger for the mid-season finale killed a whole lot of momentum. And even though the last several episodes did kind of get back to the 0.9 range, outside of the last 3, because we dropped to the low 0.8s, I'm very concerned with the future of the show as we move into season 8. Yeah, the whole mystery about who stabbed Gary might get a few views for that initial episode, but aside from that, nobody's really checking for the baby stuff. So we'll just have to wait and see how things turn out whenever the next season comes. But what point of season 7 do you think killed it? A lot of people just say episode 1 in general. Oh, the new Jordan, and Karen's back to her old ways, and this, that, and the third. But I think that collectively, it was definitely the final scene of the mid-season before we went on hiatus for season 7A. So let me know what you think in the comments below. But if you go through the comments section on dang near any of my videos concerning season 7, you will know that a bunch of people will say the same thing. When they announced that Karen was pregnant with twins and one of them is Zach's, that's like the moment that I'm like, I'm done. Nope, it's over. That's a wrap for me. So like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.